Reddit, what are some of your unpopular opinions? Even if schools taught you how to do taxes or other life skills, not many of you would pay attention. We don't need free college, we need to acknowledge the fact that the majority of jobs asking for a degree right now don't actually require one to do the job effectively. Most guys who are in the friend zone aren't even in the friend zone, they're in the "oh god, not this fucker again" zone. Society is becoming unreasonably tolerant and we need to start acknowledging that some things are just stupid. Sex is far more important in a relationship than people will admit. Sleeping in your car should be completely legal and never looked down upon. Middle-aged guys don't buy sports cars because they're having a midlife crisis, it's because they can finally afford the car they want. If stealthing, non-consensual removal of a condom, is rape, so should lying about being on birth control. You don't need to love your career. You just need to be able to tolerate it so you can finance doing what you love. One of the biggest failings of modern education is managing to convince a whole generation that Wikipedia is an unreliable source. Telling a guy to just be confident as dating advice is like telling a depressed person to just cheer up. If I could, just be confident, don't you think I would be already? Kids who succeed academically deserve scholarships more than kids who are good at sports. Vanilla is not plain. It is a flavor, and it's a damn good one too. The buff teenagers played by 20-year-olds are incredibly detrimental to teenager self-esteem. Not learning, or worse, not teaching your kids to swim is one of the absolute stupidest things you could do. Dear parents whose adult children don't talk to them, it's always your fault. Cemeteries are a waste of space and everyone should be cremated or composted after death. YouTube, and the internet as a whole, was much better when people were creating content as a hobby instead of a job. 18-21 is barely an adult, and older adults take advantage of their naivety too much. Men don't conceal their depression because they are afraid being seen as less of a man. They conceal because no one gives a fuck. Women, what are some questions you've always wanted to ask men, but were too embarrassed? Do you use that opening in your boxers to pee, or do you just pull down the top of it? That little opening just doesn't seem that useful. Thank you in advance. Someone probably already asked this, but is it hard or difficult to shave your balls? Can you feel our boobs when we hug? Is it true you really get random boners? What happens to your balls when you run? Are they just banging around? Do they stick between your thighs? Do they end up tucked? I've been dying to know, thanks. Is it true that guys generally hesitate, or avoid going up to, and talking to women that are super attractive? I mean like a 9 or a 10 of 10? Is attractiveness appearance something that makes you stall when shooting your shot? I'm with someone who buys me flowers to make me smile. What would be something I could do similarly for him that is non-sexual that would brighten his day? Women, what are the worst aspects of having a vagina? Shaving. The aftermath of shaving to be exact. When the lip is stuck in the underwear. Running for the toilet because something came out and you don't know what it is. Parrot poops are not a fun time. Having to get an IUD inserted. Having men attracted to it. Those random stabbing vagina pains you get. Hate them. Using public bathrooms. When your pad gets stuck to your pubes. When an air bubble rolls up the front. What are some guy secrets girls don't know about? When people come crying to us, our first inclination is to fix the problem. If we tie down anything in the back of a pickup truck or trailer, it's physically impossible for us not to stand back and say that's not going anywhere. We really do think your hair is good. It looked good before and after you got a haircut. It looked good curly and it looked good straight. It looked good when you woke up and when you made it. As long as it's shaped like the hair we gave girls on stick figures when we were 5 years old, we think it looks good. I'm a girl and I've found out through the years that when guys say something, don't think too much into it, like what's the hidden meaning? Don't overthink it. Guys normally say stuff that should be taken at face value. The nod. When you see a guy you don't know, or kind of know but don't really know well enough to talk to walks by, you give a subtle nod of your head, which they return. We desperately want you to toss us things instead of just handing them to us. I like hugs. I'm not staring at you, I'm zoned out thinking about how I'd start a brewery in medieval England whilst my eyes just happen to be facing your direction. What is the best way to tell your roommate you need some alone time to jerk off? I remember one night as I was leaving my friend's place just after finishing a movie, he turned to his roommate and was just like, "Hey man, I'm gonna go rub one out, Dragon Ball in 20? And his roommate was just like, "Yeah, sounds good dude," and I'm still trying to get over how casual they were about it. Go away. Baden. Hey. Let me borrow your lotion. Had a college buddy and his line always killed me. Vape. I'm gonna go make my body believe it's having sex. Wanna jerk me off? What the fuck? No. Then get out while I do it myself. Make an AskReddit thread and then email him the link.
Non-Americans, what is strange about America? All the adverts on TV for medicine end with the same statement: may cause death. The 10 paid vacation days a year. How American towns and cities are generally designed so that you have to drive everywhere. Florida man. Public toilet door gaps. What the fuck, you guys? The portion sizes. Your taxes not being added beforehand to the price of groceries. It's the most backwards thing ever. Tipping. It makes no sense to underpay workers in food and expect the customer to make up for it. It should be the business responsibility to have a fair pay for workers. Using the word entree to mean main. Your obsession with the flag. I could go months in Australia without seeing our flag. You have to pay for fuel before putting it in your car. Here in Australia you fill it up then pay. Fahrenheit and the imperial system. What the actual fuck? That America has the smartest and the dumbest people in the world. Their health insurance. I just don't understand how the greatest country in the world can't provide basic healthcare to their own citizens. It is a 6-6 system. Redditors from foreign countries. What's something us Americans aren't ready to hear? How you look at Florida is how the rest of the world looks at you. A lot of your favorite food brands make better versions of their products here. America often gets the short end of the stick. You all eat too much of sugar. Your fetishization of the military is a little weird. Seriously though, why is it so expensive to call an ambulance? Staying alive isn't something that should cost more than the person's net worth. Your education system is far worse than you think, and the state of your political climate proves it. The amount of food you waste is insane. The quality of your fast food is absolutely horrible compared to that of Canada's. I'm referring to the same chains, Burger King, McDonald's etc. Building houses out of cardboard is a bad idea. School shootings are an almost uniquely American problem. The rest of the world are disgusted. Truly, the need for children to practice active shooter drills is an unfathomable sci-fi dystopian horror for us. Mixing different processed foods together does not make you a good cook. That the galaxy doesn't revolve around you. Yes, Africa isn't a country. You're not Italian, you're not Irish, you're just American. You're all Americans. You don't need guns to feel safe or protected. Vaccines and masks are not political. American chocolate is not remotely close as good as the chocolate the other continents have. Your tipping culture is just an excuse for companies to reduce costs and poorly pay employees. Canadians aren't super polite. We're regular polite. Y'all are just rude as fuck.
What's a little known but obvious fact that will immediately make all of us feel stupid? Percentages are reversible. 8% of 25 is the same as 25% of 8, and one of them is much easier to do in your head. You don't act, you'll bite down. You bite up because of your lower jaw. It was never mentioned that Humpty Dumpty was an egg. Pufferfish are filled with water, not air. It wouldn't even make sense, yet a lot of people are like, what? World Wide Web contains fewer syllables than its intended short form, www, thus making the shorter version longer to say. Cats, dogs, and other similar animals can't see directly below their faces because their snout gets in the way. That's why you have to point out the treat a million times. They're not stupid. The damn thing is just in their blind spot. The and thou were actually the informal forms. The King James Bible used them so that the relationship with God would seem more personal. Tear ducts drain tears. They don't produce them. Violent crime in the U.S. has fallen over 50% since 1994. Think about that for a moment. We only think it is more because of social media and 24-hour news stations where we hear more than before. Despite some spikes every once in a while, violent crime has been plummeting for 25 years. If you touch a baby bird, the mother will not reject it. I don't even know who came up with it. When a nurse gives you N4, they aren't leaving the metal needle inside your arm. They actually remove that and only a soft plastic tube remains, so you don't need to keep your arm that straight. Relax. Words that are spelled the same but pronounced with emphasis on different syllables is actually indicative of the part of speech it is. Stress on the first syllable is a noun. Stress on the last syllable is a verb. Examples: contract and contract. The former is a noun, sign this contract, whereas the latter is a verb, the muscles contract. Same with record, address, impact, object, and a few others. Just like humans, British cows moo in regional accents. Covered bridges are designed with roofs to protect and preserve the wooden structure from the elements. Without the cover they'd last about 20 years. With the cover they can last up to 100. They're not built that way just to look charming. You can take a quart-sized Ziploc bag through TSA full of little travel bottles of liquor as you can fit in there. It's completely legal. Now, the airline might not approve of you pouring your own drinks, but it makes layovers and hanging out in the terminal much more easy. The word helicopter has two components. They aren't helicopter. They are helicoenter. Helico, helix, enter, wing, like with pterodactyl. It's a safe deposit box, not a safety deposit box. Do you get mad that dictionaries add new words like crunk or bling? They add them because people use those words and people need to understand what they mean. That's why they are in a dictionary. Around 70% of all car accidents happen within 10 miles of your home because over 70% of your driving is within 10 miles of your home.